Okay, we're live. Hey guys, my name is Melissa. I'm here today with Dr. Paul, and we are having conversations about things that are happening during this time in 2020 in April. And there's a lot of things that we're not supposed to be talking about. So that's what we're actually going to be talking about, and how to people have questions about what can they be doing to support their immune systems. People have questions, what can they be doing to support themselves when they can't go to the gym or to the yoga studio or get outside and do all the things that we're used to doing. People are writing me and telling me they're feeling a little bit claustrophobic and a little bit cabin fever and that kind of stuff. And you know what? And otherwise, we hope you enjoy our conversation.
Thanks, Melissa. And definitely, I think this is a strong time that people are having a lot of emotional. You kind of mentioned some of the claustrophobic feelings and people feeling isolated and lonely, and that physical contact, and just it's people don't realize how important the just the face-to-face and non-verbal, like people can talk online or they can have a phone call, but
when you have little babies and they talk about orphans, and the little babies, the orphans, they're given food and they're given water and they're given all the necessities of life. But if they're not held and they're not cuddled and they're not protected and feel that like heartbeat from another human, they still die. And so why are these little babies dying when they're not with that close contact and comfort? Humans need that comfort. They need that interaction, and that's what we're being distanced from right now. It feels really strange to not be able to like shake hands with people or give them a hug or.
Yeah, I know it's definitely weird times, and I'm wondering the long-term consequences. On people are looking at, okay, these amount of people are dying from this, and there's people that in terms of grief and financial and relationships and long-term depression and things are going to be suffering from.
I never thought about the grief aspect. What do you feel like when you're grieving? You actually want to get a hug from somebody,
right? But so many people are in that mode where they're uncertain, right? And that's a natural thing. There's one thing that if someone loses their job because they made a mistake. I did this wrong.
Right.
I lost my job, or I should have done a different path. Right.
Well, they could learn the lesson.
They can learn a lesson. They can learn just something that's completely not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a tough
This
thing.
Isn't anybody's fault.
Yeah.
It's like we're all being punished. We're all being sent to the principal's office, and none of us did anything wrong. And now we're just dealing with all of this. Well, actually, we're not being sent to the principal's office. We're being sent to home.
Sent home, yeah.
Sent home
for school.
And I'm getting a lot of texts and messages saying like, "What are you doing to keep your kids busy during this time?" And you know what? I'll share what I've been doing. I've been doing cooking, and I've been doing cleaning, and we've been playing games of chores, and sorting things out and organizing. And Steele hasn't been bored. She thinks it's fun to sweep. She thinks it's fun to organize. She thinks it's fun to do laundry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking at it as an opportunity to teach my daughter some life skills so that, later on she has all these skills. What can you recommend to do?
Well, I think getting outside, first of all, is to, definitely social distancing, but also going and getting out in nature a little bit, even if it's in the city, going to a park and getting some fresh air. We talk about movement, and people just naturally on a day-to-day basis are walking around doing things, going place to place, and we're just simply all day long sitting and doing nothing. That affects you emotionally more than anything else. And it's not necessarily that we need to exercise, but movement is one of the most powerful things for the brain. Proprioception. Movement actually fuels the brain more than just about anything else.
I feel like one of the things I've been missing the most is my hot yoga. I go for walks and I jump around in my house and I do yoga, but I miss that heat, and I miss that my body sweating.
Yes.
And I haven't really had any mood swings from it, but I can feel myself not being as complete emotionally, because it just feels like I'm antsy about something, but I think it's my sweating. I think I'm missing that.
You should get a good sweat then.
I need a sauna or something. What can I do to sweat at home?
Well, just
in the sports too, they put a garbage bag underneath.
Put a garbage bag on, and you sweat, and you just get a good So that if you want to go crazy, but don't put it right against your skin. So
No, put a long sleeve
put
t-shirt
a long
on.
sleeve t-shirt on.
Put it on, and then maybe put this over top.
Put it over top, and then put another couple shirts over top.
Yeah.
And then just go for a walk, go for a little run, and you'll sweat. You'll kind of and
Okay. I'm gonna do that.
Might as well, right? Try it out. See how you feel. I mean, if you're missing
Okay.
sweating, I mean, I was just out in my cabin in the sauna, and I was craving that. I want to go back to get back in there because, I mean, there's that release in it, and by going into whether it's extreme hot or extreme cold, the body will release.
Well, I just feel like I could feel it in my skin.
Right.
I'm starting to feel it in my skin. It's been a month now.
You're not cleansing, kind of like you don't flush the toxins.
I was thinking about it last night, and I'm like, okay, I'm salt bathing, and I'm moving, and I'm stretching, and I don't feel any loss. We have to get back to before we had all this that technology and advancements and everything. We have to get back to the basics.
We used to do that and go in the sauna.
Really?
And have a bike in the sauna. So we'd have a stationary bike in the sauna. They'd go in with, and we'd have actually what's called sauna suit. So it'd actually be pants and shirt that were like that.
And how much weight would you lose really quickly? A couple pounds at least.
You could lose 10 to 15 pounds in a day, like in terms of like a few hours cutting weight. It's just water weight though, so it's you just kind of.
Wow.
So you just suck all the water out of you. You get super dehydrated, and then hop on a scale, and then that's probably the worst part of the sport.
That doesn't seem very healthy.
It's not fun. I'll tell you that. It's not healthy. It's not fun, especially when you're young. So it's like there's been a few deaths. So now what they do is they actually will take someone's blood and actually will measure, because there's been problems and people dying, going extreme weight cuts. But I mean, I think of like those kind of athletes, like MMA fighters.
Yeah.
Man, number one, they're training so hard. They got to make weight. And then it's a sport where literally you're fighting for your life. I mean, but not many sports where it's like your health, your life is at risk. You could die being in the ring. So, interesting.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. I guess maybe I need to make a list of all the things that I feel like I'm missing, and then think, what can I do instead? How can I shift? How can I change? How can I? I was talking to one of my friends, and he was like, "Missy, working out at the gym. What can I do?" And what immediately came in, probably not enough weight for a guy. But I thought, what about just like.
And I think sometimes we think that we need to have, a really, I got to lift the suit can, but maybe it's doing something a little bit different. For myself, I'm so used to going to the gym. Now I've got into breathing. I've taken a course on, breathing technique. No matter what, it's about doing stuff that's hard, challenging yourself, learning, growing. Yeah. And it's a good opportunity for people that maybe it's taken up a new craft. Right. Maybe it's learning something new. Maybe it's, reading or taking online courses or whatever you're interested in. But I think it's for
breathwork for me has always been a big thing. What I focus on a lot is breathwork. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you're experiencing with your breathwork, and because people always have access to their breath, and that's why I love it, is because you don't need any accessories, you don't need anything. Yes. If you have music or you have a mat or whatever, that's great. But if you don't, you always have access to your breath. So what are you discovering? Let us know a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I've always I've had issues with breathing. I've caught myself holding my breath. I know that sometimes I hold my breath at nighttime when I sleep. So I have a little bit of sleep apnea, kind of like some weird. I think a little bit of stuff around that. Okay. I've never really studied or focused on it. I've never really, Do
you think it affects your sleep?
I don't know. I think perhaps it can. It's something I haven't necessarily paid attention to, but I would like to see how my sleep changes as I get into this deeper. But I think the first experience I had was with you last week. I think it was last week. So that's really the first kind of guided breathing thing I've done. I think I've done other stuff where you've focused on your breathing, but I think I've never really been to a class or been through a session like that. And immediately I felt different afterwards. So I felt good. I felt right. So it's hard to, I guess, quantify exactly after that first experience. But and then I started going home and started researching and watching videos, and I like the idea of not only the breath work, but how the Wim Hof, what he focuses on cold, so cold therapy, the breathing, and mental focus. So if we can really look at all those things, we can make big changes in our body and our physiology. So I like the idea of I've always liked the idea of pushing your body and challenging yourself. And I like.
Well, you've been doing that cold therapy for a while.
I've been doing the cold therapy, but you kind of add the breathing and they're a whole new level of things, and it's hard and it's something that's challenging. And I like the idea of that kind of basic.
Imagine it being hard though, right? Like, what are you really doing? You're just breathing, but it's hard. It's challenging. It's like you're
hard.
able to challenge yourself into a deep level. It's a mental challenge because the body can do it. The body can handle the breathing.
Body can handle, and it shows really what the body's capable of. When you actually do something like that, it's, man, I can go further than I thought. Like when I was doing this breathing, they ask you to hold your breath, and you can hold it way longer than you think you can. And then it just gets more and more. So and I like the idea of that we're naturally cleansing and through the, increasing oxygen and alkalizing the body. And so when you look at as part of the, I always kind of feel that, health these days, there's right now, especially, there's so much ingrained stress that the more we can bring balance and, really turn on the parasympathetic nervous system and allow your body to heal. And I think you got to hit it from a number of different angles, right? Mind, body, spirit.
I love the breath work for a couple of reasons. First of all, everybody already has what they need. They don't need to go get something. They don't need to find something. They could be right at there. That happens from it is stuff that you don't have to talk about. So like the feeling that you feel that something is different, well, what is that something? It doesn't need to be quantified. It doesn't need to be talked about. It doesn't need to be brought up because a lot of us are suffering from trauma that either happened before we can remember, or it happened at a time in our life where, to protect ourselves, our mind has actually blocked it out. Or sometimes things can carry generationally. Like your mom or your grandma could have an experience when they're a little kid that shapes the way they look at life. It gets passed down through the habits, the rituals, the routines, and even the DNA coding of ourselves. And then there's something there, but we're not sure what it is. And it's like people can go through, like take for instance, say your grandma is 10 years old and she's out playing in the river and she has a mistake and she slips and she has an experience with the water that's very frightening and very scary for her. It would shape the way that we protect ourselves, that the DNA would be passed on to your mom, and then your mom would have her life experience and have you. And then you might feel afraid of water. You might feel afraid of something. You might feel like there's something there, but you can't put your finger on it, nor can you remember any experience that you can heal from. So your body has this residual stress. Your body has this residual impact. How do we release that cellular trauma? I find that breath work is the best way that I've come across because it puts, like you said, it puts the central nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system into a relaxed state where we can be more present in the moment and we're not dealing with things that happened before. We're dealing with things that are happening right now.
It's so interesting. And I feel like that there's so many things that are encoded in our DNA. It's like, man, I just see my kids and some of the, like, they always want to, wild animals and they're fighting for their lives in nature. And so that's why our kids want to play. They want to run around the forest and play hunting games and fight each other. And
we were doing that the other day too. We're walking through the forest. It still said the same thing about the monsters.
Yeah.
Is there monsters in that forest?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Let's go check it out. No, Mom. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's some. I think that it's just our span. I mean, you think of our technology and things that have been around. I mean, cell phones have been around 20 years, right? And so there's been thousands and thousands and thousands of years of humans where it was we were hunting and gathering and doing things and moving our bodies certain ways and more we can, I guess, like you said, almost detach ourselves from stress and all the kind of technology and get back to the fundamental stuff in terms of movement and breathing and nutrition. And I think that's a huge thing when people are not. I think nutrition is a huge thing because, especially when it comes to, sure.
I think there's two different groups of people. I think there's one group of people who is like, now that they have the time, they're making home cooked meals. and they're putting things together, and they're like, I know several people actually who are on detoxes and different programs because they have the time to food prep and they have the time. And you know what? If you go to the grocery stores, guess what's in full supply? Fresh food. The processed stuff is off the shelf, but the fresh stuff is there.
Wow, that's pretty sad, actually.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show, right? That, you know.
So if you want fresh food, it's at the grocery store. You can go get it.
Yeah.
So last week we did the breathing. People are like, hey, Melissa, are you going to be doing some online breathworks? So I think that we should do that. If you want to come for breathwork, you can do it here, and we can guide people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we'll set up a schedule for that. We'll do it at least once a week.
Cool.
Okay. And then you guys can join and participate. If you have a little group in your family, you can all do it together. If you're just by yourself, you can do it by yourself. But I think that as we go through this time, I love people coming together. I love
see for myself, and maybe you can shed some light on this, is really combining the elements of what does it look like when someone is making healthy choices like eating healthy and taking and we know that people can eat healthy, but are they taking the supplements? Are they doing breath work? Are they still exercising? Are they doing some of the stuff? What potential people have?
Well, I mean, for myself, and when I work with people, I always start with breathing for a number of reasons. First of all, the implications on health are positive. It doesn't, if you add breathing to your day, it's mindfulness, it's calming the mind, it's meditative. I mean, there's so many benefits, but also I think that there's so many things out there that people want to do that they get overwhelmed with all these things they're going to do. And then they just get so overwhelmed, they just quit and shut down.
Right.
And I think that when you start with breathing, it's something that's, it's not easy, but it's simple. And so everybody can do it. And so it's like when you start out with breathing and you can do it, because everyone can, then you feel like a little bit accomplished. You feel a little bit successful. When people feel successful, they want to continue. Right. If you have 100 things to do and you don't know how to do 97 of them, how successful do you feel? Right? But if the goal is to breathe and you can do that,
everybody can do it.
Everybody can do it, right? So then it's like, well, I did that. And so once you start to feel successful about that and happy about that and accomplished about that, then it gives us an inner sense of confidence to do something else. And so breath work for me is always top priority, is always number one, because I've never seen anything else that can change so many things in the body without anything else. Like you can literally lay on the floor or sit here and breathe in a specific way for even a minute or a few seconds and change the physiology of the body, change the way your brain is working, change the way your heart is functioning, change the way your belly is feeling. You can literally change the way your body is operating from a very real place with nothing else around other than your focus, your attention, your awareness, your energy, and your life force. And I think that's really powerful. So I always start with the breathing. And so, during this time, we have time. And if people want to take the opportunity to get into this, I am honored to lead people through this because I feel like it's so powerful. And, people are always telling me, because I'll send them exactly how I do it. I send people my playlist. I send everything. And they're like, why do you just share this? You should be charging for it. Well, you know what? If people want to send me money for it, they can. They're welcome to. But I want to make sure that everybody has access to this stuff because it's so simple. It's so great. And if people want to just use it, that's payment enough for me. Because if I can walk into the street and people are breathing and they're meditating and they're happy, I get to live in a better world. And that's a beautiful payment. So if people can take this and use it and work on it and share it with others, I think that we can all pass it forward.
It's so powerful because when you're healthy and your energy changes and then you're gonna express yourself better.
Well, it changes your decisions. So if I get up in the morning and I'm running around and I'm ragged and I'm frustrated and I'm upset, and then I go to the grocery store, how do you think that stress and upsetness is going to impact my decisions?
You're probably not going to pick out the right stuff. You're going to get stuff that's not so good for you.
I'm going to pick out the right stuff to
comfort you.
Right. Because I'm going to be looking for something outside of myself. But if I get up in the morning and I connect with my breath and I bring my body to a powerful place and I'm feeling clear in the mind and I'm feeling relaxed in my body and I'm feeling successful, how is that going to impact my decisions? How is that going to impact my communication? How is that going to impact the things that it's made me a more powerful individual? It's made me able to handle stress. It's been able to help me handle emergency situations because I'm connected to my breath.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be able to handle the things that I handle in life if I didn't know how to breathe. I wouldn't make good decisions. I wouldn't, I might reach out to things that I don't want to be doing.
I think that it's just like when we're having this conversation, this thing that is we're not seeing on the front page of the paper in terms of, the treatment for cancer, or something like allergies, right? Or something that, that is a preventable problem.
I think the number one reason is because it's not making money. I'm going to teach everyone to breathe, and nobody's going to make any money from that unless they found a way to tax air.
Sure, they'll find a way.
Right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Right? No, I think that's the number one thing, Paul, is because if we are healthy, happy individuals, we're not paying straight of money-making machine. And people think that it's free healthcare, but really it's not, because it's paid for by the money that we contribute to taxes. And so that tax money isn't government-sponsored money. That's money coming from people who are paying taxes into a system for the benefit of everybody. But is everybody really being benefited if that money is going towards, symptom management?
Well, and what I've learned is that oftentimes government programs and things, it's not necessarily where I'd want my money to go or what I'd want my best healthcare options.
Totally.
Right? And truly, if you want good health, you got to pay for it. You got to pay for it. If I want to go to the rather get good quality with everything, and oftentimes, the government has options, but
I think the reason why we're not finding this in the front page of the paper is because the front page of the paper isn't to heal anybody. The front page of the paper is to sell papers. It's for entertainment. We're not selling papers with cures. We're selling papers with entertainment. Is this entertaining? Do people want to flip the page? Do they want to find out what's going on? Is there a leading headline? Did something happen that, is exciting? Well, I think it's exciting to breathe well. When I actually, and I'm sure you do too, when you look at somebody's posture, you can tell so much about them.
Oh yeah.
You can tell if their head is forward, if their head is back, if they're slouching, if they're curved, if their body has rotated over their organs. And it's like, when we see a picture of a body, we see all the organs. Well, that's not how most people's organs look.
Well, and I tell you, I can look at x-rays and see how long someone's been under stress for by how their x-ray looks and how much deterioration is in their spine.
Right.
So people I don't think sitting is the worst thing in the world. If you're healthy and you're fit and you're strong.
And you're getting up and taking breaks.
Yeah, I don't think it's the fact that people are stressed out day after day.
And hunched over
at a computer for 8 hours and not know. And, you see this with kids. The kids kind of cracks me up. There's an article in this paper that talked about backpacks in kids, and that kids should not be wearing a certain amount of weight in their backpacks because it's causing all these back problems and all this nonsense, right? Kind of cracked me up because you go over to India.
Water on their
head. They're not, it's because kids here are so deconditioned from sitting playing video games, not exercising, that they can't handle any sort of physical exertion. It's not the backpacks.
Right.
It's their body's inability to handle. So you can look at a lot of things in life. It's your body's ability to adapt to the stress.
Well, and who is it that talks about the Superman pose, right? Because if you're like this, your thinking is going to be a certain way. Your body's going to function a certain way. But if you literally stand up and stand with your shoulders back, I don't know if they can see me, but if you stand like this, it's a Superman pose, and you stand like this, putting your chest out, putting your essential service, giving tickets outside. Is that your truck?
Yeah.
Well, then he's getting a ticket.
Yeah.
Here, do you want to go get it?
Well, it's too late now.
Oh.
Why is he going to think he's not going to give me a ticket? They say something?
Maybe. I guess you are. I guess you're supposed to be so many feet away from the thing. I'm going to knock on the window.
That's okay. I think we're still alive.
Okay, sorry guys. This is real life, and
as long as I don't get towed.
Essential services are out there doing all the things to keep people safe. And I noticed he wasn't wearing a mask or anything. I wonder if he's practicing social distancing.
Oh, well.
Oh
What are you
well,
going to do?
what are we gonna do? Okay, do we want to stop this?
Sure. I got a call now, so.
I don't have a big YouTube.